What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of U4 ReZero Season 3. This is episode 11. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. With me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
yeah. So, unlike some of the other episodes we've watched for the past couple of weeks, this this episode mainly focuses on the fight between Sirius and Priscilla. Um,
Well,
and,
a
and of
lot of
course,
it.
it does transition us
Oh,
back.
yeah, I was going to say, like, a lot of it was actually Liliana's backstory. Um, but of
Yeah,
course, yeah, a lot of it is also the fight with Sirius and Priscilla as well. But a good majority of it is actually Liliana's backstory.
yeah. We do learn that Liliana used to travel alongside like a performing like what was it, the traveling troupe, and Liliana's mother was the songstress at the time.
I actually thought
But
that was her sister at first.
yeah, so um over time Liliana was unsatisfied with with the like I could you could say the lack of contribution she's giving to the troop, and she kind of gets into an argument with her parents about like wanting to become more than just being in the background every time. So she steals her mother's instrument and decides to go off on her own. Over time, like she she goes off like on her own unsuccessfully. But eventually she discovers her parents end up with a new child, just, just realizing that they moved on from her. So eventually, like she, what was it?
Well,
Uh,
she tries to
she,
go to different towns to perform, but she doesn't really end up making a lot of money. Some people
yeah,
give her a little bit of money, but it's not enough for her to survive on because we see that she's literally just like completely emaciated from starving to death and thirsty because she ends up just like crawling on the ground, not, I guess, not having eaten or drank anything for so long.
mhm, yeah. Eventually, she one day receives inspiration to make a new song, which eventually turns out to be a success.
I think what happens
Until
is like
she,
I don't know if she was actually like singing before. She just went around maybe like playing her instrument, but she was inspired to, I guess, maybe start singing as well after hearing the bird song, which
yeah,
ends up making her a lot of money. Or yeah, it gets her pretty successful, and that's how she ended up, I guess, where she was at the beginning of season 3 with her coming into contact with was it Kiritaka, uh,
yeah,
Kiritaka, yeah.
Kiritaka,
And he helps to kind of spread her, or sort of like lift her up in terms of popularity.
yeah. And so, of course, we cut back to the fight between Priscilla and Sirius. Um, or for, if people missed it last week, there was a post credit scene that took place after the last episode, cutting to Sirius attacking Priscilla. She did land a blow on Priscilla, but she reveals that she has this power to transfer any damage against her towards one of her items that she's currently wearing, like a necklace or her hair band or whatnot.
Mm.
So she uses that to her advantage against Sirius. Um, of course, Sirius tries to, of course, like do her monologues about like mutual understanding by brainwashing the populace and so on and so forth. Uh, Eventually, like I think
So
Liliana
Priscilla's
calls her
idea
out.
was to get Liliana to have Liliana go to the top of that tower so that she would play her song to get people out of the trance that they're under. Um, and and yeah, that was the idea, I guess, was that Liliana would sing and help, like she had before, uh, get people out of Sirius's trance.
Yeah, and of course, this ends up enraging Sirius to the point where she tries to attack Liliana by destroying the tower, but of course, Liliana like keeps singing while the tower is falling at the same time. Eventually, Priscilla uses this her advantage by attacking Sirius, and apparently she just knocks her into the river.
Yeah,
Um, or
I was
in
trying
the
to understand
waterway.
exactly how her sword worked because she said it. I think she said something about how it uses the power of the sun. I think, um, but
Yeah.
it didn't look like the sun was out, so I'm not exactly sure because like the sword lost its power, I guess, when it doesn't have I guess the sun's energy to, I guess where she's not able to harness the sun's energy or something. Um, but yeah, she ends up, uh, yeah, Sirius ends up falling into the river below, and I'm wondering if that's the last we're gonna see of Sirius, if she's actually dead or not. I honestly kind of doubt it. Um,
I don't think
yeah,
she's dead because if like for something for like a sword slash that literally should have killed a normal person. It's like
yeah.
you don't really see like significant damage against Sirius after that.
Sirius also mentioned
Uh,
that she kind of briefly brings up her husband and saying like the only thing that he gave to her was anger. But of course, she never really reveals who her husband is or anything. And we also don't really get, unfortunately, like I
no,
was hoping we would get some more, maybe a little bit more information about Priscilla. I was actually kind of hoping this episode, honestly, would be Priscilla's backstory, but I was a little bit surprised when it was Liliana's backstory because based on that one line in the post credit scene that Sirius says to Priscilla that got Priscilla really angry, and because she even mentions like something about Sirius being able to look into people's, I guess, their past and try to use that against them, and I was
yeah,
like hoping that would lead into something about Priscilla. We do find out that she apparently had 8 husbands, which kind of surprised me as well. I'm guessing maybe they're, I don't know. I'm wondering where they are. Are they dead or?
I I honestly, for someone with her reputation, that kind of doesn't surprise me,
Yeah,
in a
but
sense.
that also left me. What it confuses me too is like I mean maybe I don't know, I because she looks fairly young and I'm just like she had 8 husbands, like when I don't know, like I mean um I'm wondering how that
I
works.
mean, wait, does she say that she has 8 husbands at the same time, or did she just
Oh, that's a good point.
discard, like, several
Yeah, because I was
different
thinking in
husbands
the
at
past tense, like she had 8 husbands, or I don't know, like that also made me want to know like a little bit more about her. So, but yeah, unfortunately, we don't really get anything else about Priscilla other than just stuff like that, and I was wondering like what about like that what Sirius said to her made her so angry. Like I was hoping they'd expand on that, but they don't, unfortunately.
No. Yeah. Eventually, like, once the tower is destroyed, Kiryutaka ends up saving Liliana at the last second, but before she falls to the ground. But yeah, that's pretty much it where we get leave off from that fight. Of course, there is another post credit scene after this episode, which picks up with Subaru talking about Regulus's authority. Um, I think he did this is that his wives are connected to his authority in some
Well,
way with
yeah, that's part of it. He also based it off of the constellations or the stars in his world because all of the archbishops are named after stars, and based on that
yeah.
information, he was able to, I guess, deduce what his weakness is. Basically,
Hmm.
that Regulus is able to stop I guess to stop his own time or something, and that's like that's like one of his, I guess, technically like his could be his weakness is that he could maybe like resume his time or something like that. But yeah, like you said, like his wives are part of it. And so basically we learned that Emilia is going to I guess try to save his wives while Subaru deals with Regulus, although I'm still not exactly sure how Subaru is going to try to, even if he does know his weakness, like how he's going to try, try to exploit that, considering it's just him. Unless, well, we know that Reinhardt is like just kind of, I guess, floating around in the atmosphere at this point. Uh, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm wondering what Subaru has up his sleeve that's going to help him out here.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it was a good episode. Focusing on Liliana's backstory for the first time. The Priscilla and Sirius fight was all right. Of course, Liliana takes most of the credit for helping out for most of that fight.
I mean,
Even though she didn't really,
yeah,
yeah.
we don't really see a lot of the fight. I mean, we see some of it, but a lot of it is just Liliana's backstory and her coming up with the song to, snap people out of the trance.
And I mean, as for Sirius, it's like it's. I mean, I honestly don't think she's dead
Yeah,
from that blow. Like she's probably gonna come back one way or the other. As well, yeah, I'm guessing like even though like we did get a focus back with Subaru facing off against Regulus. I have a feeling that we're gonna transition back to some of the other characters we haven't seen in a while. Like there's still that fight with uh what was it with Garfield fighting off what was it, that forearm guy. There's
yeah,
also Owl fighting off fighting off Capella and so on and so forth. So there's still a lot of other characters we need to catch up on. You know, before we get to see the conclusion of the Regulus fight.
yeah. I'm sure they'll probably have maybe an episode dedicated to those one, like one of those fights. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I thought it was a decent episode. I remember I remember seeing some people saying there were some translation issues in this one. I don't know exactly where that would be because I didn't really catch it. I think it was actually the episode description, actually, not the episode itself, because I
Hmm.
remember, yeah, the episode description, they messed up again because they refer to Wrath as Lust, I think, as like yeah, I think the Archbishop of Lust. um
Yeah, like Crunchyroll has I don't know what's been going on with Crunchyroll lately. They've been mistranslating or just changing a lot of dialogue, either unintentionally or
yeah,
intentionally
I
at
mean,
times. Like,
ReZero in
it's like,
particular, for some reason, seems to be a victim of just supposedly just constant like just translation issues and um
yeah, I don't yeah, I don't think like ReZero is the only show. I
yeah,
think there are a couple other shows that I can point out that may have some, those mistranslations here and there. But yeah, but I mean, I'm hoping that they fix this maybe, but I don't know how, like how Crunchyroll manages their staff or translation staff.
yeah, yeah, hopefully, but yeah, that being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.